Hello everybody, this is Kyle Speed One coming to you from the racetrack. Yeah. Well, today I have a project that I just finished up. Matter of fact, you might recognize it. I did a post hinting about it. And now I've got her running on the track. I think the only detail I have left to actually do to it is to add some exhaust pipes. But as you can see, and here, it's running smooth. I'll bring it in for a landing. Okay, so here we are. That's right. This is a 1968 Pontiac GTO Judge. There's the emblem. This was a snap together kit by Monogram. Okay. Let me spin it around here. The natural color was orange out of the kit. You know, all the pieces, except for the rear bumper, were all orange. So most of it I had to paint. But you see, there's an item, for those who know, missing. Now, I had a friend of mine in high school by the name of Tom who wrecked his 1973 or 74 Cutlass Supreme going towards DFW Airport off of 114. And I checked on him, made sure he was doing all right, and yeah, he was. He's just a little banged up and embarrassed, but he said his mother, which drove a 1977 gold interior, gold exterior with T-tops Trans Am. And of course, like I said, he had that Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. And a couple of days later, he calls me up and says, because he knew I worked on cars, and he couldn't get a hold of this other guy named Pete, which he was a gearhead and a half. He was more of a mad scientist than he was anything else, but he calls me up and says, hey, I got a problem with my new car. Can you come over and, try to help me out? So I drive over there in my 1973 Monte Carlo, emerald green with the white Landau roof. And when I walk up this driveway, and they lived in a posh area in Bedford, and his mother was an executive for some big company, and she made money hand over fist, basically. She was a divorcee. Beautiful, 6 foot tall Nordic blonde woman. You could tell that's where the whole family came from, was, the Nordic variety. And as I entered the garage, I was met with a maroon colored, or a burgundy, I guess it was a burgundy colored GTO Judge. Still had the original paint, still had the stripe, still had the Judge emblem, had the tack on the hood, the whole 9 yards. Matter of fact, the interior was also black. And yeah, So this kind of brings back high school memories for me. Lucky son of a gun. Of course, later on, I'd come across my 1968 SS 396 Chevelle. But anyway, getting back to the slot car. This was married from the Monogram snap tight kit to a slotted, that's right, slotted HRS chassis kit. It runs real good. I'm quite pleased with the project. So I'll bring it in and explain to you a few things about that kit. Whoops, I overshot my landing. Anyway, it's a Sidewinder pod setup in a slotted HRS chassis. Slotted axles, slotted screws, guide, pinion, gear, and motor pod screws. Now, as I did with the Corvette, I used this little jewel here that plugs into the chassis as I'm making a plug it in motion. You can see there, and these two back here, same with the other side. You just have to take your hand or your thumb or whatever and just gently pry the body shell, and the chassis comes right out. No screws. And the basic shape of the body keeps tension. So it's not rattling. Now, for some unique features, you might recognize the driver. That's the same one from Pioneer slot cars that inhabits the Bullet Mustang from Pioneer slot cars. The red line tires and the Krager rims are from the same place, Pioneer slot cars. The window trim, side and rear were all hand painted using acrylic, and as well as the chrome trim around the fender wells and the front marker lights, and the grille was hand painted. I had to, in order to have the car sit the way I wanted while using this chassis, I had to use some cardstock, styrene cardstock, along with this little jewel here to extend the base down, as you can see the black part, so I could get the interior to fit and the car sit right on the chassis, so on and so forth. It took a little bit of finagling, but I got her done. And so I'm not aware of any slot car company so far that has done a 68 GTO Judge slot car. I'm just not. I know there's some GTOs, but those are all earlier, 65, 66, 67. I don't think anybody makes a 68 GTO Judge. So, yeah, I looked around on eBay and on the internet, and nobody makes that rear wing for the GTO Judge in 1/32 scale. I don't know why Monogram wouldn't take the time and just make the dang thing, since that was definitely an option for the car back then. And a lot of people, including my friend Tom's car, the original purchaser, had ordered that very wing, and it was still on the car. Long story short, that 400 Pontiac with the headers was building up so much heat, it would do two things. One, you could drive it and not even drive it hard, park it, and when you came back out minutes later, the starter wouldn't engage like it's supposed to. You had to let the car cool off. Two, it also was boiling the fuel in the fuel line going up to the carburetor. And I had learned an old trick from my dad of basically making a heat sink that attaches to the fuel line to help keep from boiling the gasoline. Because you'd crank until you got it purged that air pocket before it would even begin to try to fire off. So what we did was we went to Harry's Hot Rod Shop in Irving, Texas. We bought some header wrap. We wrapped the headers with that wrap, and we built out of tin from the metal shop in high school, built a heat shield for the starter. And the boiling of the gasoline in the fuel line, clothespins. That's right, wooden clothespins. I put about 4 of those suckers on that fuel line. He never had that problem again. Plus, with the wrap on the header and the heat shield, it fixed all of his problems. Now later on, we rerouted the fuel line to where it wouldn't be affected at all, and then from there on out, he didn't have any problems with the car at all. Cool car, awesome car. I doubt if he still has that car today, but it's nice to think about that old memory. And that's about it for today. We'll send you off for one last ride in the GTO Judge 1968 snap together kit / slotted HRS chassis. See, if you want a car that nobody else makes currently, you're going to have to do something like this. Don't be scared to attempt it. You can always ask questions from other slot car builders, or you can ask me questions. You're more than welcome to. Thank you for liking and subscribing, and I'll talk to you another day. Bye.